What a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show, and one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Ruhif, Sleeping Warrior, and Ranty. How are you all doing, gentlemen?
All is
good morning, good evening.
It's good, it's good.
Good evening to you, Ruhif. Good morning to you, Ranty. Good morning to you, Sleeping Warrior. Now, we're into a pretty good conversation about our standards of acceptance for our sides of the argument, the example being Spurs chemo. So, if you'd be so kind, Ruhif, can you go through your point again?
Yeah, so in the Wollongong footage that Wolfie mirrored the other day, there was a background ship and a foreground ship. If you superimpose the shape of that ship onto the footage, the waterline of that ship is well below the waterline of the foreground ship, and that cannot happen on a flat plane, but obviously can on a sphere.
It can though, but that's a different point. It can happen, but let's talk about the point that you want to make.
The point about Spurs?
Yeah.
Well,
is it Spurs or is it us?
Well, kind of both, I guess. Spurs made a really flippant remark when I said, where is this refraction zone? Where's the distortion? And he goes, oh, there it is. And he pointed at this reflection on the bridge way up top as like so the sun reflected off a window. And he goes, oh, look, there's the distortion layer. There's the refraction we're looking for. There's the abnormal refractive event. And, none of you guys called him on that shite.
Is it our job to call him, or is it your job?
It is our job, but it would be nice if you guys could call clearly spurious arguments. It makes you guys look bad.
I would say the same about the rumpus, though. He clearly obfuscates points, and we've made this point many times. You've been on the panel when he's been doing it, and you've been giggling in the background when he's talking over Nathan, and me and you are trying to listen and just think this is a mess. So it works both ways. Really, it's like, well, for me, it's like, yeah, sure, maybe it wasn't the strongest of points, and I did listen to what he was saying, and I was like, nah, I don't really agree with that. However, unless it's challenged by one of the people on the opposing side, then the point stands. That's the way I see that. Now it's for you guys to say that's bullshit.
Yeah, most of the time, yes.
But
often when Rumpus speaks, I understand where he's trying to go. I would overtalk less and probably use less words. But I don't think he obfuscates points. Like when he said he went to the
you are kidding. You don't.
When he went to space.
Hang on, just say that again. You don't think that Rumpus obfuscates points?
I can't think of any examples of him deliberately obfuscating. No.
Nath, do you agree with that?
Of course not. I mean, he's claimed that the entire body of science, quote, proves the shape of the Earth, that they're all backing it, and then yet 2 days later, science can't prove anything.
How many times?
What definition of proof you're using? Like
here we go. Now you're doing it. We're straight into semantics. Yeah, I inherently know what I mean when I say proof. I don't think there's a single audience member when I say the word proof that does not understand what I mean.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Let's not get bogged down with the argument over, because it is semantical. It almost never applies.
No, it's not semantical because Nathan made a distinction between proof and evidence.
There is a distinction, but it almost never applies.
So we went through this yesterday. Did you see the show? Yes, you probably didn't, Ruth, because it was probably a weird hour for you. But yesterday we went through this. So evidence furnishes proof. It's not equal to.
Furnishes. Yeah, so they're not the same thing, right?
Right, which is what I said, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're
the
not
only
the same
reason
thing.
this...
Right, so we're all in agreement. Evidence furnishes proof. Evidence is not proof, because, and I can't remember who I gave this example to, in a courtroom, both sides of the argument, one side being wrong, one side being right, both have evidence. So you can't say that evidence is equal to proof. Evidence furnishes proof.
One second.
Yeah, go on. Can you see on the back wall in the room that Ruhif's in? Can you see there's the magnolia colour, and then you've got like what looks like the corner of pictures where the pictures have been hanging up, but the light's reflecting off them for some reason. I don't understand that. I need the practicalities of that one working out, because I can't work out why it's doing it. It looks like his wall's full of squares.
Yeah, he's took his flat Earth pictures down.
Yeah. It looks like he's had sellotape on the wall where his posters were up or something like that, and he's took it off, and it's like he's left the residue on it or something.
Have you got something up to be presented? Did you want to present something, Ranty?
I did, yeah. I wanted to present something to Rufus.
You want to present it to Ruhif? Okay.
Sorry, Ruhif, yeah.
Okay, no worries. Just let me know when you're ready, when the conversation permits, and I'll stick you up on screen.
Yeah, sure.
I want to know where the word Ruhif comes from as well, because the rumpus means to have a fight or be awkward.
A ruckus.
Yeah, ruckus, fight, be contentious or whatever. Ruhif, I wonder where Ruhif comes from. Because, I mean, I've looked at it backwards. Firu. It's not.
Nah, it's probably just like a combination of letters from his family name or something for his, like a combined account for him and his wife or something like that, I think.
Or it's been given to him. It's been assigned by the Illuminati.
Oh my god.
That was a joke, by the way.
I know it was a joke, but there's going to be people in the audience that aren't capable of distinguishing that.
No, there's only 22 in now, and I'm sure they're all flat earthers.
They'll be working out the numbers now.
Or Australian.
Yeah, they'll be doing the gematria calculation on his name.
Yeah, there'll be a 33 in there, I bet you. I bet you think you could work out a 33 connection. What's his name? Russian Vids.
I'm not going to, denounce what people like that do, because there are people who do it well. Marty Leeds being one of them. But there are people out there that don't do it well. That just will literally find meaning in any set of numbers that are graffitied onto the wall somewhere, and that suddenly has meaning, and it's like, no.
Yeah, Russian Vids tends to do that. He finds angles on everything.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to knock Russian Vids. He's an auto-hoaxer, which is fine.
Most of the time, though, the auto-hoaxing he does is pretty much bang on the money.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to knock Russian Vids. He's good. I like Russian Vids.
Me too.
Very Christian biased, which is fine.
Who cares? Religion's like football.
Yeah. Good analogy.
Yeah, everyone follows their own particular team. Only one team can win the
Everyone's
league.
Got their favourite god.
Yep. Praise Helios. Tim. I can't believe Tim was struggling with that yesterday. Oh, did you notice that Tim played the victim card yesterday after leaving?
Yeah, I did, yeah. That was fun. I'm not going to take this abuse. I got Ruhif back now, so I don't know if you wanted to end a point or anything, Ruhif, because Ranty's got something he wants to show you.
Yeah, quickly. The only reason we're talking about science being able to prove something 100% is because your acceptance of evidence is far too extreme.
Sorry, I don't think it's extreme when definitions like science is a study of the natural world, or when we're told that the entire body of science that studies the natural world has no proof of something that's accepted and has been accepted for 2,000 years. Having a high degree or a high standard of evidence for that isn't unreasonable. What is unreasonable is to ask someone like me, a videographer, who's been making videos for 3 years, to scientifically prove flat Earth. That's unreasonable because I'm not backed by science. Science isn't on my side. and science hasn't asserted the Earth is flat for 2,000 years. So to put that on us is completely unreasonable. And yeah, our standard of proof from you is going to be of the definition that you guys give in your departments. So you guys define what science is, not us. You guys back the globe, not us. And you guys have had 2,000 years to come up with proof, not us.
Sorry. The last few hangouts have been you guys, you and Quantum Eraser defining science.
Sorry, no. You use citations. So when Merriam-Webster said that evidence furnishes proof, he used a citation.
Yeah, I agree it furnishes proof, but in what sense?
So that's not
is
Quantum
proof?
Eraser. That's not me. That's citations from PhD and Nobel Prize winning scientists.
Where are you getting that from?
On his citations. Go back and have a look.
I thought this was Merriam-Webster.
Say that again, sorry.
You're saying this definition is provided by PhD scientists or something?
Yeah, he's got citations from all. I don't have them to hand, in case you ask me to cite them. I don't have them.
Right.
But you could certainly check out Quantum Eraser, and he's got citations for all of these things. So, for instance, when you called him a fucking idiot, he then went to... who did he go to? Max Planck?
Max Planck Institute?
No, Feynman. He went to Feynman and quoted him.
Yep.
So you said, you're an idiot, that's what you say. And then he went to Rochester University Physics Department, got a citation.
I agree with the Rochester page.
Yeah, well, that was his citation.
No, when he's talking about independent variables and null hypothesis, that is not that page.
Yeah, and he explained that they assume you understand what a hypothesis is, and a hypothesis requires it. And then he went through to, I think it was MIT, and dug out a paper that defined it, and literally had the definition saying that they are required. So I don't really understand the issue.
Not in all experiments.
No. To conform to the scientific method. Not in all experiments. You can have any experiment you like, but it wouldn't conform to the scientific method, though, Ruhif.
We disagree.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's been defined. So when you disagreed with him and he said, well, there you go, there it is in a law dictionary, you're disagreeing with the definition of it. You've got a bit of Dunning-Kruger going on, I think were his exact words. Yeah, you can laugh, but he's gone to a law dictionary and got you a definition after you've called him a fucking idiot and claimed that he's wrong. And he's gone and cited professionals in this field who have defined it for him. And he cited them.
Just in the same way that you are a YouTuber and videographer, Quantum Eraser is also not a scientist.
Yeah, so that's why he's got citations. Citations from scientists. Yeah, he's got citations. So he's citing stuff. It's not him saying it, he's got citations.
It's not.
He's telling scientists how to do their job.
No, he's not. He's using their work to author add credibility to his position. He's reminding people what the position is, and he's using them to regurgitate it. That's credible. Not in contrast. In contrast, the rumpus doesn't do that.
My view of the scientific method, and what I think matches with the actual practice of science, is formulating hypotheses and testing them with observation.
Can you can you cite somebody like he did? Have you got a citation where somebody has said that?
I think that Rochester website does it quite well. Oops, hang on.
Do you want to show us where it says that?
Yep, 1 second. So I'll put the link in the Hangouts chat. Where's Hangouts? There we go. There you go.
Yeah, I've seen it. Do you want to take us to the part that backs up what you've just said?
Oh, I'll read out the 4 steps. Observation, a description of a phenomenon or group of phenomena.
Hang on. Put it on screen. Put it on screen.
Oh, hang on. Oops. 1 sec.
Shout out to Multi-Tom.
Oh, get him in here, actually. And Ute. Where's Ute?
Yeah, I agree with you, actually, there. Ute and Multi-Tom.
Multi-Tom.
Love to have you in here. Multi-Tom has been on before, though, just so you know.
Okay, he's a bit of a clown, though. All right, I'm sharing my screen.
Cool.
Yep. So number 1, observation and description of a phenomenon or group of phenomena.
Right,
Number 2,
hang on, that's the first point that he sticks on a lot. You have to observe the phenomenon. You can't make a prediction or base it on what you think should happen if. You have to observe the actual phenomenon. That's what he dwells on a lot.
yeah.
Right. So give an example. Give an example where quantum eraser is messed up here.
No, I'm using this to say this is what the scientific method. It's a pretty good approximation of the method.
Yeah, and quantum eraser would back that completely on point 1.
Yeah, and when it gets to point 2, it's got the word hypothesis. And then he's defined what a hypothesis is. And it's a requirement in terms of there's a cause and effect happening. Yeah?
No,
therefore, you need a dependent and independent variable. These things have been defined. He defined them for you.
There are at least 2 kinds of hypotheses. One is a cause-effect relation, and the other is a mathematical relationship.
Sorry, where are you reading this?
At least 2 kinds.
Sorry, where's that written?
It is what it is.
Sorry, where?
It is what it is, Nathan.
Sorry, can you just highlight it on this page?
It's not on this page. This
right,
is,
so why have you got this page up, Ruhif? Why have you got this page up again?
Does.
Sorry, I'm a bit unclear. You're just going to insert any old shite where you feel appropriate? Why have you got this page up and now you're not quoting from it?
He is, Nate, he is.
I am about to. I didn't realise it was the end of the sentence. So guys, in physics, the hypothesis often takes the form of a causal mechanism or a mathematical relation. That's hilarious.
Well, you do realise that by distinguishing the two is one, you're going to prove a causal mechanism, or the other one, you're going to prove a mathematical relation. But mathematical relation between 2 objects doesn't mean it's causation.
Yeah, this is not a cause and effect thing. Like someone said the other night, what caused the Earth to curve? That's a nonsensical statement.
Right, but the point is, if you're going to prove that there's a causal mechanism in this example, then that is a lot more credible than proving a mathematical relation. Because if there's a mathematical relationship between the point you're making, sure, you can have any maths you want. Who cares? We want to see the cause of this curve, not the mathematics of the curve.
Yeah, the cause is the independent variable.
No, there's no cause.
Yeah, the independent variable. You define this, Ruhif. But you define this. He asked you the question, and you explained cause and effect. Independent variable. The cause being the independent variable. So how do you vary curve?
You don't. This is not a causal relationship.
Right. Well, that's what the scientific method requires. That's an experiment. That's a hypothesis.
Quantum Eraser cites this page. He cites this page as being representative of the scientific method. Step 2, formulate hypothesis. In physics, the hypothesis often takes the form of a causal mechanism or a mathematical relation.
Sure. But
yes. Not that sorted?
Yeah, but I don't think there would be a problem with this. We're all right at this point.
I don't think Nathan was.
My only query...
because a curve is not a phenomena, is it?
The observation...
Sorry, Ruhif, is curvature a phenomenon?
It's not something that you...
Is curvature a phenomenon?
Is it something that you can observe? You can infer it
sorry,
from your observation.
Is it a phenomenon? That's the word that it says. Formulation of a hypothesis to explain a phenomena. So is curvature an observable phenomena or not?
The obstruction of the bottom of the boat.
Oh, so curvature's not a phenomenon then? So now we're into the scientific method to prove obstruction of boats on the water. No, I'm talking about something very specific, right? Science studies the natural world, and the scientific method is the methodology of science. Now, here we are defining the scientific method, and we've got this word, phenomena, right? It's there in number 1 and number 2, a description of the phenomena. So, is your description curvature, Ruhif?
My hypothesis is curvature. The phenomenon is the obstruction of the bottom of the boat.
So, hold on. Step 1, observe and add. I don't really understand why you're dancing around this, Ruhif. Is curvature a phenomenon?
So what is the phenomenon? Is the bolts drop behind the curve, correct?
It's obscured by water, yeah.
Sorry, at what point did I ask for proof of obstruction of boats?
Sorry?
Yeah. This show, Ruhif, is called Flat Earth Debate, and we've spent a number of shows presenting what we consider to be proof. Yeah? And it's never good enough. Now it's the other side of the table. Now it's you guys presenting us with proof. And we've got this standard that you guys have set down in science. And the first thing on the list describes phenomena. And I'm asking you if curvature is a phenomena or not.
It is the hypothesis to
so
explain
it's not
the
a phenomena
of the boat being obscured.
You keep going on about boats. Yeah? I don't know why I say curvature and you hear boats.
What he's
You're asking me if the phenomenon is curvature. I'm saying no, the curvature is the hypothesis.
So what we're trying to do is get to a cause of curvature.
No.
So the phenomena in this instance, the thing you're trying to prove, would be curvature, which is not a phenomena.
The hypothesis is curvature. The phenomena.
He's agreeing with
you. Will your hypothesis inject a model by any chance, Ruhif?
It will be a mathematical relationship, yes.
Sorry, will that mathematical relationship be based on a model of a sphere?
Sure.
So we have a presuppositional argument and not an adherence to the scientific method, Ruhif. Yeah? Why are you playing dumb? I don't really get it. You model pseudoscience, and it has a presumption that you're on a curve already, doesn't it, Ruhif?
What is the definition of a hypothesis, Nathan?
Right, let's not worry about my definition. This is you presenting it. Right, and I'm saying curvature's not a phenomenon, and you're talking about boats. Then you're saying that you're going to insert a presuppositional mathematical formula in the form of a model. This is not the scientific method, Ruhif. No, 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 no. No, 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 my friend. This is not science. This is not an application of the scientific method. This is some gish-gallop nonsense that you've just decided to bandy around with the scientific method up on screen. Yeah? So inserting your presuppositional formula ain't going to wash here.
Hey Tim, how you doing? Of begging the question.
You are begging the question. You've got a model that presupposes that you're on a sphere that you're about to insert when you look at boats.
Hypothesis. A hypothesis is a supposition or a proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation.
Okay, so
Ruhif, define phenomenon next.
No worries. What have you got then, Ruhif? What experiments have been done that conform to this?
I observed the...
Not what you have observed. What experiments have been done?
Is that
concluded that we can go and validate. Concluded, done. Do I have to explain this bit again? 2,000 years of acceptance, Ruhif. So I don't want to know anything about what you've done or going forward or what I can do.
Historical fallacy.
Sorry, Tim. Just want to explain to Ruhif what we're after here. Yeah? So we've had 2,000 years of acceptance of a theory. Now I'd like to know what that has furnished you with in terms of proof.
All right. Step 1, I observed the boat being obscured by water. Step 2, I formulated a hypothesis suggesting that maybe, just maybe, there is curvature. And we can define a mathematical relationship.
So curvature would be the cause, Ruhif. So that would be your independent variable. So cause is curvature. That would be, in an experiment, the independent variable. Can you vary the curvature, Ruhif?
Step 2, in physics...
Sorry, you're not answering me. Right, you're saying the cause is curvature. The cause is the independent variable in an experiment. So I'm specifically asking if you can vary curvature in your experiment.
The hypothesis often takes the form of a causal mechanism or a mathematical relation. Do you know what the word...
I've already gone over this. Your mathematical part is presupposed, geared towards a curve. It begs the question and assumes the outcome. That's what you're about to do with the mathematical section, and I've already put an end to that. So now I'm asking a different question. You're saying the cause of your boat's obstruction is curvature. So cause is an independent variable in an experiment. Can you vary the curve?
Step 2.
Why do you keep ignoring me, Ruhif? Can you vary that independent variable? The independent variable is the cause. In this instance, causation, according to you, is curvature. So can you vary that curvature in your experiment?
You're losing this right, Nathan.
Can you vary the curvature in your experiment, Ruhif?
Yeah.
A hypothesis is a supposition or proposed
Just
explanation.
reading off crap and ignoring me. I'm sick of it. Right? You've said the
'Cause you're
cause
asking
is
me whether
curvature.
Earth curvature is a cause of something.
So is it not the cause of the obstruction of the boat?
This is a mathematical
I
hypothesis.
don't want to know about the presupposed mathematical formula that you insert. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm asking you, is the cause curvature?
And I'm not answering until you accept that a hypothesis can be a mathematical relationship.
Yeah,
So
it can
cause and
be,
effect is
but I
useless.
reject that because it has a presupposition attached to it. That's not science,
No.
Ruhif.
What is a hypothesis, Nathan? Seriously.
Yeah, I've
Can you
already
read it
gone
out from
through
the-
this.
from
You've
the-
said it can be mathematical. The mathematics you use begs the question.
No. Do you not understand what a hypothesis is?
Right. What's the cause in this experiment?
This is not a cause and effect hypothesis.
I know it's not cause and effect. That's why it's not conforming to the scientific method and cannot be tested.
We agree. We agree to the Rochester page as being representative of the scientific method, do we not?
Yeah, and it needs a cause and effect.
We do.
A dependent and independent variable, as detailed to us by Quantum Eraser using citations. What you've done is put his paper up and then not gone through it and answered any questions about the cause and effect relationship that is necessary in an experiment.
What is your definition of a phenomenon, Nathan?
Why are you asking me this? I'm not presenting anything, Tim. Have I presented any phenomena
Well,
here?
You've actually had an argument against him and asked him what a phenomenon is. So, for the sake of brevity, we need to kind of define our terms.
Not a solid
I
noun.
agree.
If you're looking at a tree, the tree is not a phenomenon. If you're looking at a tree and you witness the leaves falling off, that would be a phenomenon. Correct?
Is that a definition of phenomenon?
I'm giving
What
you
is
an
your
example.
definition of
Do you not
phenomenon?
like my example?
That's an example of a phenomenon. Do you have a definition of a phenomenon? You can look on my screen if you need help.
No, I'm alright.
A
I think.
fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question.
So, the cause of the boat being obstructed, you fucking retard, would be Earth curve. Cause being an independent variable, Tim.
What's the word
Silence.
after cause, Nathan?
Effect.
Explanation. One whose cause or explanation is in question.
Explanation for a
Got this.
cause would be the effect, right? What happens as a consequence?
This is not a causal relationship.
Right. So what happens afterwards would be the effect of that cause. So to isolate
still on
the
this cause and
cause
effect.
would
This
be
is what you get
scientific,
for
wouldn't it,
listening to Quantum
Ruhif?
Eraser.
To be able to
Yeah.
isolate the cause would be a way of scientifically testing it.
Evidence equals proof.
No. Evidence furnishes proof. You inserting an equal sign and laughing is pathetic, Tim.
2 shows ago, he said evidence equals proof. It's the
Right.
same
Well, he
thing.
gave a quantifiable example and took people through the steps of it. He didn't just assert it with a full stop and then end, did he?
Oh, okay. So he did. Okay.
No,
Thanks.
he did not. He made a statement and then he qualified his statement with evidence and
You're
citations.
losing badly today,
You have-
moderator. You should just
you
kind
have
of pipe down.
condensed. You have condensed what he said to 3 words: evidence equals proof. No, he quantified that statement with citations.
Rufus,
Sorry, Rufus,
let
say
me-
again?
Can I interject a little minute? Let me have a minute.
That
mate.
would be great, actually, Anthony. That'd be great.
Ruif, just pull that thing up on screen, the 4 points of the scientific method. Just get that on screen and Nathan share it. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to be a baller for the sake of this discussion. I'm going to present it as a baller, but from the opposition side. Right. Observe and describe a phenomena or a group of phenomena. I would say that a boat appears to go over the horizon. The formulation of the hypothesis will be the Earth must be curved. That would explain the boats appearing to go over.
No globe in the chat.
Yo.
Hello.
That would.
Hey, Nathan, you seem pretty angry today.
No, not really.
He does, doesn't he?
Kind of bipolar.
He does. When he's losing, he gets pretty pissy.
It's losing?
Hang on.
What are you talking about?
Hang on. Wait. Let me finish. I've waited patiently while you lot, whatever. Yeah. So the formulation of the hypothesis to explain the phenomena will be that the Earth would be curved. The water would curve.
Yep.
The hypothesis, therefore, in this instance, isn't mathematical. It's causal mechanisms, right? Do we agree?
I would say it is mathematical. I'd say most things can be described mathematically.
But we're not going to quantify the curve. We're just going to say that there is a curve.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Just for the sake of this illustration, just so we can work our way through the process, we're going to say that the Earth's curved, the boat drops behind the horizon, it appears to drop behind the curve. Yeah, that's fair at this point. Number 3, the use of the hypothesis to predict the existence of other phenomena or to predict quantitatively the results of new observations. Honestly, that sounds like babble to me. I would struggle formulating where this would fit in. But the use of the hypothesis to predict the existence of other phenomena, I'm guessing this is going to start leading into refraction, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. But the use of the hypothesis, in other words, the use of the Earth being curved to predict the existence of other phenomena. So the prediction of other phenomena might be that if the Earth was curved, there may be other things that we need to consider, like refraction, possibly. Number 4, performance.
So which we should talk about in a minute as well, by the way. Refraction.
Sure. And then number 4, performance of experimental tests of the prediction by several independent experiments and properly performed experiments. Right. This is, with regards to boats going over the horizon, we've seen many different videos showing many different times. Sometimes it looks like it's curved. Sometimes it looks flat as a pancake and it disperses into the distance like a ghost ship. That's, you know what I mean when I'm saying that. I might not be articulating it well. However, there's enough videos that go both ways and makes it ambiguous with regards to boats going over the horizon for us to reasonably conclude that the boats might not actually be going over a curve, because we can't prove that there's curve because there's evidence to the contrary. It works both ways. We can see evidences where it appears flat. We can see evidence where it appears curved. It does go both ways. That's the only neutral position you can take. Yeah, you can be biased and say, nah, blah. But there's loads of boats videos out there. So I think but for me, the impartial position would be to say that the phenomenon is the boat dropping behind the curve. The hypothesis is because it's curved. We test it to see whether it's true, and then we find that there's inconclusive results that go both ways. So that would be my conclusion based on them 4 points that we've just seen in this application of boats going over an apparent curve. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and you see that because you think the results or these YouTube videos are inconclusive.
No, I say that because we see results that go both ways, not because they're inconclusive.
Oh no, in your opinion, they go both ways.
Well, based on the evidence, there are evidences that go both ways. Not on my opinion. There are evidences. I mean, you can look at both. You can do it yourself. Just research the word boats, curvature, flat Earth, whatever. You can see boats that don't go over the horizon, that don't drop the way you're describing. I agree, and I've seen it myself once. There are times where I do see boats going over the horizon, and I reported it as so. I put the video on my channel and said I found the curve. But that was the exception to the rule.
Hang on one sec. We might have a screaming child again.
An early show today, guys.
Yeah. This is why that's why I ask for what 2,000 years has presented. I want stuff that's been systematically experimented on and proven over and over again, that people have come along and tried to debunk and haven't got inconclusive or contradictory results when they test it going forward.
Technology presented for the flat Earth.
Sorry, technology what?
Anything?
Say again.
21st century technology. What does that have proven for the flat Earth? Anything?
What about it? What about 21st century technology?
Has that proven anything for the flat Earth yet?
No, not yet. I mean, we've gone out with 21st century technology in the form of high zoom cameras. You've got one yourself, and had a look at what the world actually looks like. We've done that within the last couple of years, Tim.
Yeah, people like Matrix Decode that show obstruction, that you guys just say it's like a wave or like some kind of a wall of water.
So is Matrix Decode a scientist? Is he backed by the whole body of science?
Oh, so now it's about scientists. Okay, so do you have any flat Earth scientists?
On your side of this assertion, Tim, your side of this assertion, unlike Matrix Decode, is backed by the entire body of science and has had 2,000 years to perform systematic experimentation on this theory, you all believe.
That's all that there is to it. You just don't accept the stuff. So that's fine.
Correct.
Sorry, what don't I accept?
You don't accept anything that has to do with this.
Well, what have you presented? Neither you or Ruhif have presented anything.
So this is an observation of two boats that you can't explain on a flat Earth.
Sorry, did you not listen? What I just said was, what have you got in the last 2,000 years of globe acceptance that proves systematic experimentation, that's falsified, that you've checked, that's been validated, that I can go and repeat? What scientific proof do you have?
What scientific proof do you have?
Yeah, I've just gone through this as well. I'm a videographer, so is Matrix Decode. We are not backed by the entire body of science. We have not had 2,000 years of acceptance of what we assert. Yes, we have got modern technology to go out going forward to try and prove this new theory. However, we have an existing one that, according to you guys, is backed by science. So what's science got? You've got their backing.
What's this here? This was a flat earther that found the curvature. What is this exactly?
You seem to be
Tim. Into the flat Earth,
Tim,
like the
you
sun
seem
does,
to be
or the moon does,
completely
and the stars do?
ignoring me. So I'll lay the standard down again. The YouTubers you reference to prove flat Earth, scientifically, are YouTubers with zero backing from science, with 3 years of experimentation behind them. That's what we have. You guys have the entire body of science backing your assertions. Yeah? And they've had 2,000 years to go out and get proof. So the standard is considerably higher for your side than our side, Tim.
See what Soundly's got. He's a good friend of mine here.
Sorry, is Soundly a scientist?
Is that your criterion now? That we have to have scientists on the flat Earth debate with the...
I'll say it again. I want you to cite what 2,000 years with the entire body of science backing this, what that has produced in the form of proof.
Is he on a broken record, or is he like a troll or something?
Are you deaf? Are you deaf, Tim? You think it's funny, but the reason you're laughing is because you don't have anything, Tim. Science hasn't provided any proof in 2,000 years with the entire body of science backing the assertion. That's my point. You've got nothing except Soundly. It's pathetic.
Thank you, Soundly.
How about we talk about something constructive?
Yeah, my job here is done. Thanks, guys.
Talk about vacation in space.
Bye-bye, Tim. Nice to have you with zero proof that the last 2,000 years has afforded you.
Was that me or...
No, Tim's just gone. So Aldis toasted the fire to a minute or two, and now he's buggered off.
I agree. Yeah. Good round you go.
No idea.
Is Arwen around?
Probably he's still in bed.
Yeah, where's Arwen?
Because he had an interesting point, I think in off-air section of last night or night before. Oh, yeah. Hang on. He had an interesting point where, let's say you're at 45 degrees latitude on a globe, and there's the centrifugal force, trying to fling you off the Earth, basically. And it's very tiny. If you calculate it, it's very tiny. But he had a good point in that if you are standing at 45 degrees and you are, how can I describe it? You're not you're standing up, so you're pointing off 45 degrees into space as well. There is a component of that centrifugal force that will point you north or south. It's tiny, but it does exist. Theoretically exists, at least, anyway.
Rue.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my screen at the minute. Nath, would you mind sharing it?
Oh, there we go. Yep.
Have you seen this video by Jaren? Boats over the curve, 100% debunked, flat Earth confirmed. Have you seen it? Have you watched it?
I don't know. Seen a few.
Right. This video, it talks about the effects that we're talking about with refraction and things that distort at the horizon and the effect of it on a ball. And Red's Rhetoric did a video where he had a sailboat that was disappearing off over the horizon. And he did this for a big chunk of time. So what he was showing was that it appears that the boat drops the way you're describing. Jaren deals with specifically that point. He gives a counter argument. He illustrates why he uses the counter argument and compares, but also contrasts it to the boat that Red's Rhetoric observed going, quote, over the horizon. When you watch this video, and if you watch it like from a neutral position, from the I don't know position, then it makes perfect sense. If you watch it from the it's a ball and I'm going to be a bigot, then you'll just call it bullshit, and that's fine. You know, I could see why you would do that, but what I would suggest is that you should consider doing this because he makes the point that the horizon isn't actually where we see the boat. What we see is the inversion point underneath it, and this applies a lot.
I could also approach it from the view of a 12-month-old baby with no object permanence and not know that the hull of the boat has gone behind something that's obscuring it.
Yeah, but do you understand what object permanence means?
Yes. I successfully graduated year 1 of my life.
Right, go on. Tell me what object permanence is.
When you can't see things, that they're still actually there. Like your parent goes out of the room, you still have a parent.
Right. So we know that there is the bottom of the boat here because on this example that he's just given, the birds make contact with the water at the point that's there. So we know that the boat is still physically behind this line because of object permanence. But for whatever reason...
sorry, this is an example of an inferior mirage, right?
No, with regards to your point about object permanence, we know that the bottom of the boat is physically still there, correct?
In that little area between the water and the blue line.
And we can see that the bird...
that was a question. That was a question.
Sorry, by not answering it, I assume...
Do you think the hull of the boat...
Yes, that we know that the boat is physically still behind this area. Object permanence, correct?
Go a little bit further. Go a little bit further to make it clear that the hull of the boat is below the water line.
Well, you just said it yourself. It's object permanence. You know that the bottom of the boat exists.
Yeah, behind curvature, behind the water.
But there's a bird in the image that shows that a reflection underneath it, showing that where the horizon appears isn't actually where the horizon is.
Boom.
Do you agree with that?
I actually don't know where the horizon is in that particular thing. I would say that it is the water line. Being able to demonstrate that, don't know.
I'll play it slower so you can watch the effect of the birds on the picture when the bird comes into the picture. But watch not just the bird, watch the reflection of the bird on the underside of the bird. That will tell you that the water level isn't the horizon. Something else is going on.
The water level is not the horizon.
Yeah. Obviously, the blue line that Jaren's got on screen at this point is where he believes the actual horizon is. This is what we were talking with Rumpus.
I disagree. I would either say that it is at the water line or somewhere in the middle of that blue line and water line.
Yeah, but just watch the bird that comes into the picture. I might have to speed it up a little bit because might be taking too long. But the bird comes into the picture. There it is. There's the bird. Look at the reflection on the...
Yeah, inferior mirage. So there is a vanishing zone. There's a vanishing zone below that blue line, yeah.
A vanishing zone? Is that the right word?
If I understand that image in your paper, yes.
It's an inferior mirage.
Yeah.
But the point
there is something. There's something there that is actually invisible.
Do you agree, though, that because the bird is being reflected, we know that there is an inferior mirage? We agree at that point, but we also know that the bottom of the boat exists. The two things are conflicting each other.
Yeah, but if like with this particular still frame, I'm not sure if I superimpose the boat on that where the hull will be. If you fast forward a bit, like it'll be pretty obviously below the waterline.
Right, but right, we have a conflict of it. There's 3 pieces of evidence on screen, right? You've just agreed that the object permanence point means that the bottom of the boat still exists.
Yes.
I've just shown you that there's an evidential issue with regards to the bird and a reflection underneath that's proving that there is this band of dirty air or refraction or whatever it is that's on top of the water that's given an apparent horizon. It's an optical horizon that's not real. You've agreed with that, yeah?
I'm not sure exactly where the horizon is in there, no.
That's the point. But we can see that there is an obstruction. And because of object permanence, the obstruction, therefore, is not the curve. We see that there is evidence to the contrary of it being curve. So with regards to the hypothesis that the Earth might be curved, then if we see evidence to the contrary of it, that would mean that the hypothesis fails. Correct?
Hey,
sorry.
Rumpus.
Hey, the Rumpus.
Oh. Absolute gibberish, Anthony. Absolute gibberish.
Wait a minute. You're not. Wait, I'm talking to Rui. If you can come in a minute.
Just me for a minute. I'll get going like in 10 minutes anyway. So whatever.
But the hypothesis that we started with, like hypothetically, the hypothesis was that boats were dropping behind the curve. However, we can see this band of dirty air or whatever, and it's affecting what we see. It's an optical effect. And because of object permanence, we know that the bottom of the boat still exists. It is there somewhere.
Is the true horizon somewhere between that blue line and the top of the water?
No, I think the true horizon is somewhere along this line here.
Wow.
That would be the lowest point I would put it, and the highest point I would put it is where Jaren's got it. It's somewhere in there, because there is a different color. We know that water doesn't change significantly its color, but there appears to be a line across the screen. But it's hyperbole. We don't know. And what I'm saying is the hypothesis is that the boats are dropping behind a curve. Well, when we see evidence that's not supporting that suggestion, now you've got one where you see these 2 cargo ships that does support it, but there is enough evidence out there for me to reasonably conclude that that might not be consistent all the time. And it isn't. This is an example where it's not.
No, it is. That's perfectly consistent.
This could be ambiguous. I'm not sure where the actual horizon is. Well, because I don't know.
I demonstrated it with the rumpus on the Isle of Man footage, where there was the dog on the beach and he was being mirrored, and then I showed it with regards to the tip of Ramsey, and it was doing the exact same thing that we see in this image here. So that's 3 examples where we're seeing what looks like an
but the hull of that boat is well below that zone, Anthony. It's exactly where it's expected to be on the for the curvature of the Earth, and it's well below the zone we're talking about. So the point is
below the waterline of the foreground boat as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the point is, can we prove the hypothesis to be correct or not? And the point I'm making, the point I'm making, regardless of whether you disagree with me or not, the point I'm making is that there is evidence to the contrary that does not.
There's no evidence to the contrary, none at all.
There's evidence to the contrary that does not support boats dropping behind no curve, because
this supports that evidence. The top of the mast drops down, and the hull drops down in exactly the same manner, and it supports the spherical Earth absolutely 100%. Just because you can't see the middle bit properly because there's an inversion, it doesn't change where the hull of the boat is, and that's well below the foreground horizon. You can't have horizons on a flat Earth.
Nathan, do you remember what the name of that video was where the female narrated it? Jaren took this video from it. She talks about the top of the boats and how they don't change their position.
Well, Ranty's demonstrated that. So he went up and down.
Geostreeper did a blink test on that, and he showed the mast was moving down. It was not, as per usual, Ranty got it wrong.
Let's retract. How is a horizon not possible on a flat Earth?
I'll show you. I've got a little diagram here. Which includes actually a better test of what the thing you're showing at the moment of the hidden amount. If you permit me to share my screen, I think this is a picture of Toronto, for instance, across the side of Lake Ontario, I think, and you can see here. This is a picture. And taken a slightly, this is actually done by a flat earther. Actually, this picture it's clipped from a video, and you can, and yeah, that's always the best. And you can see what the Toronto is the tower, and if you place on it the Google Earth image, we've actually got something called towering as well as which has actually moved everything up. But you can see there that the mast, the mast of the tower. Sorry, the Toronto, the CN Tower, whatever it's called. You can see that matches perfectly the size, the top bit, but due to what's called towering as well as looming, you can see where the base, basically the waterline for the tower actually is. And of course, that's all hidden by the curve of the Earth.
Can I just ask a quick question, Rumpus? What's the, do you know what the left to right distance is in this image? How much left to right do we have in miles?
I don't know off the top of my head, no.
You work it out.
In other
just
words,
by the
there should be
building
a bulge in between that.
But the point, and I've got a little diagram elsewhere
This is
showing
like-
you how you, this is which I did for the Rantis recent thing. Right, I've got, yes, this is the thing that this is a diagram, a little more scale. This is a scale model, an absolute scale model of the boat thing that Ruhif showed you here, with the observer at 10 meters at that location in Wunanga or whatever it is, and you can see there's the 10-meter height. And if you look at the line,
I used to live right there, you know.
There's a that little line.
Say that again, Ruhif. Sorry.
I used to live very close to that observation point, like at the next, sorry, 2 heads up. They're called Sandon Point.
Is that you saying you can repeat this, Ruhif? Are you saying
That is exactly where I got burgled. Yes.
Can you repeat it
on the day after New Year's Day?
Sorry, my kid was talking.
18 Aragon Circuit. It was.
Can you repeat this then?
Sorry, me. What?
Yeah, I assume you're saying this because you're presumably hinting that you're going to repeat it.
No. I used to live there, like 10 years ago.
Oh, well, that's lovely, Ruhif. Thanks for that.
Yes, that was the story. That's all it was.
It would be useful if you were going to go back and systematically repeat it.
You can see from my screen here, I've actually done a little summary of, on the spherical Earth, that as Ruhif managed to identify where the Conti Leon was and where the observer was, and he found out that it was 25.8 kilometers from one thing to the other, as opposed to the 25 miles that Ranti claimed. And of course, that perfectly agrees. If you work out the amount of hidden that should be, that gives you a hidden of 12.5 meters. And the freeboard of that boat, which you can work out, is 11.285. And so, of course, that means the hidden slightly more than the freeboard, which is exactly what we see in this picture.
All that means is that your presuppositional mathematics has worked out that it could be curvature. Do you have a repeated observation that confirms this?
We have an alternate hypothesis.
Yes,
sorry.
Indeed. So
my question was simple. Do you have a repeated observation?
No. But what I do have is a scale model which shows you the.
Sorry. Do you understand
here.
about the necessity to systematically repeat these things?
Well, it'd be nice. I'd agree with you.
What do you mean it'd be nice? Sorry, it would be nice.
Yes, it would be nice, but we don't.
No, it would be necessary. That's what it would be. Nice doesn't come into it.
Oh, it does.
No, it doesn't. In order for this to be scientifically valid, it needs to have been repeated and validated, does it not, Ruhif? Hello?
Sorry, you're directing that to me?
Yeah, you're going to call him on this bullshit, Ruhif?
No, you're asking whether this exact experiment can be repeated.
No, that's not what I asked. Did I... What is it when I say I'm not interested about what we can do going forward? Has it been repeated?
Have we analysed observations?
No, not have we analysed. It seems like I say a word and globeheads have this cognitive dissonance where they hear a completely different word. Has it been validated?
Has this exact observation been repeated? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I asked it about 4 times, Ruhif.
You're asking if this particular...
Are you literally going to repeat the exact question back to me for a second time, or are you just going to answer it?
Question, Nathan.
No, right, listen, he's trying to get to the point where if you went back to that point and you looked at that boat on that path, which it'll happen regularly, is the boat going to appear the same way each time?
Of course.
What do you mean, of course? You assume... Here we go. Rumpus the Zealot. Of course, if we went back and repeated it, we'd see Earth curve. Because I'm a zealot, and I can assert it without evidence.
But the thing is, though, I just showed the video from Jerem where that didn't happen, and there was something else causing it.
No. Just because, Anthony, there's a little layer where there is an inversion layer does not deny where the base of the hull of the boat is, and it's well below the waterline. The fact there's a little area in the middle doesn't make any difference at all to the fact that
it does make a difference because in the illustration I showed, just hang on, in the illustration I showed an inferior mirage of the reflection of the boat above, What happens if it's a superior mirage of the water below, raising the horizon, making it look like it's curved?
This observation that this guy took.
Hang on, can I have an answer, please? What if it's a mirage of the water below artificially raising the horizon, creating the perception of curve? What's
Right,
the
but
answer?
the hull of the boat is still below that, Anthony, and it's below it in exactly the way we'd expect for spherical Earth.
Right, you've not answered my question, though.
Yeah, you've
And you
ignored
can't
him.
have a horizon on a flat Earth either.
You've ignored him,
Well,
Rumpus.
no, it doesn't have any effect because the hull of the boat's still below the horizon. So even if you want to move it down, which is what you're suggesting, basically, what we're looking at is a complete mirage that's being shifted down. Well, the hull of the boat is also being shifted
It's
down
not what
as
he's
well.
suggesting.
So it's still well
no,
below
you're
the
misrepresenting
line
his
of the
argument.
horizon.
No, that's not what he's suggesting. He's saying that there is an alternative explanation for the obstruction at the horizon. That could be...
Well, you can't have an obstruction. You can't have a horizon on a flat Earth.
Oh, no.
Do you not understand how perspective works?
I do perfectly. Would you like to give me the equation for it? Because I can give it to you if you like.
No, I don't want to give the equation. I want to contrast it to what you
And
think.
I've got a scale diagram here. I've got a scale diagram.
We don't want to hear about your mathematical pseudoscience or your non-repeated observations, Rumpus. It's crap. This is crap evidence.
The scale diagram I've got here.
I asked for scientific evidence, right? And Rumpus has come along with a single observation that hasn't even been repeated. This is your standard of scientific evidence, is it, Rumpus?
Nathan, would you share my screen, please? Rumpus, can you address this point specifically and don't go off on a tangent? Did you see me when I was presenting to Ruhif this particular picture?
Sailing boat. Yeah, I saw the sailing boat thing, and that confirms spherical Earth. Yeah.
Right. So we see and we accept that there's an inferior mirage of the. Hang on, which way around was it? There was a mirage effect blocking what we can see.
An inferior mirage. No, you're absolutely right, Anthony.
It's an inferior mirage of the boat, correct?
There is a small layer. Yeah, there's a small area above the apparent horizon to a point on the boat, which is an inversion layer, which indeed is an inferior mirage. Correct.
Right. So is it not possible and indeed likely that we could also get superior mirages that are the water level reflecting on itself and appearing above what it actually is?
Yes, but it doesn't account for the movement down.
Right. So how can you?
No, you can't. No, A, no, and B, moving down.
How can
it doesn't account for the boat moving down as it goes away from you?
I asked you a question. You gave the answer yes, but
no, I'm okay. Sorry. I mean, I was saying. Ask me the question again. Sorry.
Right. So we can see that there's an inferior mirage of the top of the boat being inverted underneath.
No, it's not the top of the boat. It's the middle of the boat that's being inverted.
Yeah, it's this bit here, isn't it?
I can't see what. Okay, you're not being shared. Hold on. Are you sharing this? Are you pointing at things? Sorry. I'm now looking at because you're okay. I'm now looking at your thing.
This is Rumpus playing dumb.
I can't see your pointer.
Rumpus playing dumb. This is obfuscation. He's asked it about 3 times. He's asked it about 3 times, and you've conceded once. Now he's going through it again for you.
I haven't conceded anything.
You did.
Yes, you did. Sorry, Rumpus conceded that there was an inferior mirage blocking the boat at the horizon. Hi, Mark. How you doing? Can you hear us?
How is that a concession? I'm
Hold on a
agreeing
second.
with it. That's not a concession.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was trying to get on for a while there, and basically I was wondering if there was a way to put together the one thing that would stop all the debates, and that's put somebody in South Africa, South America, and if you can fit it into the nighttime Australia.
Yeah, that's my position. That's what I'm pushing for.
Anthony's been asking for that.
They are looking into that. That is, Dawn Treader is negotiating with people in the Ball Earth side to see if that can happen. That is something that we're trying to do.
Actually,
I can do the Sydney one, obviously.
Why not forget the Ball Earth for a while and actually first arrange for something like that to happen?
You can do 2 things at once, you know.
No,
we are actively trying to do that. That is something that we're trying to do.
Oh, that's so cool. Because I've been listening to, I just had a hard time getting on, but you know, the one with it's just really nice because when you go to the Ballers site and you step into their forum, they start basically, it's like stepping into a gladiator ring as a Christian, you know, you just get beaten bad. You have to run away.
Well, if you're a flat earther, you're wrong, so you're going to expect that.
Mark, would you forgive me if I could? Can I finish my point with the rumpus, and can we come back to you in a minute?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. What was your point?
What I was saying, Rumpus, is that I appreciate you might not see my pointer.
I can't see your pointer, unfortunately, which is irritating. But okay, Anthony, I'd like you to draw where you think the hull of the boat is on that picture.
Okay.
Rumpus, he hasn't got to the end of his point. You've obfuscated only so long, and now you're bringing up a new point. So let's just get to the end of Anthony's point.
We understand that object permanence is a thing, don't we? We know that things are still there when they may not be.
Yes, obviously, we don't need to get to that idiotic thing. The bottom of the boat is below the waterline, below the horizon.
Right, but the point that we made in the video against you, like last 2 weeks ago or whatever, was that the horizon line is an apparent horizon line. It's not an actual horizon line, correct?
It's very close. What you see as the hard horizon is very close to the geometrical horizon. That may be,
but also the curvature is also very close to that horizon line.
No, it's not. It's well down. On distant photographs, something like as I was showing you on Snaefell, on the hangout we had the other day with about the bits of the Isle of Man, it's so far below the apparent horizon, you cannot be accounted for by any sort of miraging.
It's literally on screen now. It's literally there right now on screen.
What's that? Yeah, we've got this boat on. Yeah, proof of the spherical Earth on
being obscured by a mirage.
Oh no, Nathan, you got it all wrong. See, the best explanation that I've heard that winds up beating all flat Earth possibilities is that the first 100 miles don't count as far as the curve goes. It's completely irrelevant for the first 100 miles.
Where did you hear this?
Oh, well, this is what the ballers on their websites, on their, the moment you start going and getting anything definitive as far as like curvature and that the math just doesn't work at all, you get the first 100 miles don't work. Or they're irrelevant. Sorry, they're irrelevant. I apologize.
You cannot have a horizon on a flat Earth. And because you've got one...
Sorry, you just can't have a horizon on a globe Earth. It's impossible. You can't have people hanging upside down off a ball antipode from you on a world that we live on. That's impossible. So the globe is just nonsense. It can't work in reality.
Right. I didn't hear that,
Nathan. You know, Nathan, can I give you a different subject?
Not yet, Mark.
Because
we've still got Anthony trying to get to the end of his point.
Boats like the Isle of Man for like 3 months. You're going to bash this topic to end. You know what you want to give these ballers as far as they've been lied to is picture your typical passenger jet wing on an airplane.
Can you hold that thought for a minute, Mark? Because Anthony's spent the last 15 minutes trying to get to the end of this point.
We will come back to you, Mark. We will come back to you.
Make a note of your question. Write it down somewhere, and then we can talk about it in a minute.
All right, but
Rumpus, we'll come to Mark in a sec.
Yeah,
Rumpus, we can see clearly that there's a bird in the picture, and we can see that there's a
reflection there. Anthony, I keep on telling you there's an inversion layer. Why do you keep on asking if there's an inversion layer? And I keep on telling you, yes, there's an inversion layer.
Because
I even had a hangout. I even demonstrated this in a hangout 4 days ago when I went into this, and even the physics of it. So why do you keep telling me that it's there when I tell you it's there? Because there's an inversion layer there.
Because my point is that if we agree that there is an inverted reflection of above it, that this is a refracted image, isn't it? It's mirrored. This would be known as an inferior mirage, correct?
Correct, it is an inferior mirage. You're absolutely right. It's an inferior mirage, as I told you 4 or 5 days ago.
The answer was yes. The answer was yes. So do we agree that equally there could also be a superior mirage of the water below it reflected above?
No, because the horizon is much, much closer to you than the boat.
But we do know that there is such a thing as a superior mirage, correct?
We do, but it's not relevant to this situation.
How can you disprove it?
Because the horizon is much closer to us, and the physics of the rays show that what you'd expect to see, and for something that close, I mean, there, for instance, that boat there, you've got a superior mirage. This and that oil tanker above. Yeah, there's a good one.
So what happens if the water is the superior mirage and it's reflecting itself above it, and it's raising what we perceive as the actual horizon line?
That physics doesn't work for that.
But my point is, can you prove that it's not?
Well, if you were to have then you'd expect to see some sort of duplication on the water you're looking at, and there isn't. And I mean, we have pictures.
Hang on.
Let me finish my sentence. Let me finish the sentence.
Rufus, could you play your boat picture? Can you put your
on the Isle of Man, for instance, we have boats and things in the foreground on the sea, and they're not duplicated up. So we do not have superior mirages.
Rue, put your boat picture on.
Hang on. I'll put on the GIF. Hold on.
No, share screens. Share screens so we can see it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to put the animated GIF on.
I'd love you to put where the hull is, Anthony, on that picture you've got of the sailing boat, and you'll see it's well below the apparent horizon, or actually, which is very close to the
geometrical
apparent
horizon. Well done. Clever phraseology there. The apparent horizon. So we don't have a horizon. We have an apparent horizon.
Very, very close to the geometric one.
Yeah,
Philip and I have
not
been
talking
doing
in
some
absolutes or facts or precision here, are we? We're just talking in very, very close, aren't we? Very scientific of Rumpus to get it very, very close.
You don't agree with don't think we can use terms like that, saying something's close.
You've claimed the entire body of science backs this theory and proves the Earth is a sphere, and then 2 days later said that you can't prove anything with science. You also claimed you'd been to space, and then later revealed that you were just lying. So basically, you are a disingenuous liar who claims he has been to space, and he has not, and claims that you can prove the Earth is a sphere with science, only to later claim that you cannot prove anything with science.
You know what a joke is?
Are you actually autistic, Nathan?
Yeah, you sound like it. You're dysfunctional.
Sorry, what's with the ad homs? That is precisely what has happened. So I'll say it again. I'm not autistic. What has happened in this order is Rumpus claimed he had been to space. Then I asked him to confirm it, and he said yes, he had been to space, only to later confess that it was a lie. So he is a liar, Ruhif. That is a fact. He also claimed he could prove the Earth was a sphere with science because the entire body of science backed that theory, only to later claim that you cannot prove anything with science. He is a disingenuous liar, Ruhif. I am not autistic. These are the facts.
You're socially dysfunctional.
Very clear social cue, right?
Sorry, this isn't about social anything. I've just laid out specifically what has happened. Fact. Rumpus claimed to have been to space. That is a fact. I asked him to clarify what he had stated, and he did. He clarified that he had, in fact, been to space, only to later confess that he is a liar. That is a fact. That is not me being autistic. That is not me having some mental disability. That is a fact. Yeah, you laugh it up, lads. Yeah, Rumpus is a liar. Laugh it up. You're a liar.
Nathan, just so you know, this is how they get under your skin.
They're not under my skin. I don't mind pointing out facts over and over again. I don't mind pointing it out again and again while they try and ad hom me and basically direct insults at me while I lay out the facts about Rumpus. Not ad hom, not calling him a moron. He is a liar. That is a fact. He can laugh about it all he likes. The Rumpus is a liar. He lied.
Whereas you're just
By the way,
Whereas you're just means, yeah, I know I'm a liar. I know I'm disingenuous. I know I claim I can prove the Earth is a sphere with science, only to later claim that you can't prove anything with science. I know that. I'll have a good laugh about it.
Not laughing as much as us.
Can I just wonder, can the Lucifer telescope, I mean, that's a powerful puppy. Is that powerful enough to be able to see your ass? Like, do you
I have no idea what the Lucifer telescope is.
Right.
Well, you know, it's really powerful. It's one of the most powerful telescopes we got.
Do you know what mountains
wrong? We still haven't got to the end of Anthony's point. He still hasn't got to the end of his point. It's just been loads of obfuscation.
You know, you can't see your own bottom. You know what a mountain is? Because if that's in the way,
Anthony, can you round out your point, please, Anthony?
You guys get to cherry pick the bejesus out of the science.
Do not take the Lord's name in vain.
So maybe the Lucifer telescope can see.
Do you believe in mountains, though? Do you believe in mountains, whoever you are?
Well, okay, my name's Marcus.
Marcus, do you know what mountains are? Do you know that they actually?
Well, no, but what I'm saying is,
excellent.
You guys, no, listen, hear me out. You guys are cherry picking the bejesus out of science. You're saying this works, so we'll take it here. Like, for instance, Like, for instance, the Wright brothers, apparently not only did the Wright brothers invent a freaking airplane, but they invented a method to stop the Earth from spinning. I mean, this is something that
you're just making stuff up.
Well, you know how this, according to the ballers,
you're just making stuff up.
No, the bullet, when you fire a bullet over a long range, you have the Earth spins, right?
Yes.
But when the plane takes off a runway, the Earth doesn't spin.
We're just making.
What are you talking about?
Can you not accuse him of making stuff up, Mister? I've been to space.
Your answer was airplanes have an engine and bullets don't, and that's why the Earth spins for the bullet and doesn't spin for the airplane.
No one has ever said.
What are you talking about?
Are you kidding me?
Making stuff
Are you
up.
freaking kidding?
Sorry, let's just get it clear for Marcus. He's absolutely correct. Apparently, you have to account for the Coriolis effect when firing a sniper rifle, and yet planes are completely unaffected because the atmosphere is attached.
No. They have an engine.
They power themselves, whereas bullets, yes, they can't. Airplanes can change direction of their own accord.
The one thing you guys did not throw into this experiment, if you really wanted to, if you let go of a kite and there's no wind, why doesn't it start to pull away on you?
Well, it's got
pull which direction?
Well,
sorry,
it doesn't freaking matter. The Earth is spinning. It's got to pull away.
Yeah, but it's spinning
somewhere.
with you. But hold on, don't you understand that the kite is spinning?
It's spinning with you.
Yes.
Can we just not entertain this guy?
Bullet. Yeah, I know. I'll stop, but I'm telling you, cherry picking.
Anthony, I'm sharing my picture.
You don't.
I'll do a very quick link as we've got about 50 minutes left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. Most importantly though, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules. Please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show as this increases the live audience. As I say, there is about 50 minutes left on this live stream.
Hold on.
You guys are using the wrong analogy. Whoa. You're using the wrong analogy as far as how the Earth works. Put yourself on top of the train. No, put yourself on top of the train. Now you're sitting on top of the train, and everything works according to the globe model now. Go ahead. Now,
right. Yeah. Inside the train, the air is moving with you. Once you get outside the train, you're hitting the air.
No kidding, but that's exactly what the globe model says. You're sitting on top of the train.
No, once you get outside the atmosphere.
I think we can prove that we're inside a train because we can prove that there is a contained environment. But can you guys prove that there is a contained or a not contained environment for the air to move around with it? Because there has to be a containment for the air to move around with it.
Contained in what way? Physically contained or contained?
Can I say, have you guys ever heard of the saying, we all live in a yellow submarine?
Yes. So what?
Well, if you think about it, for a second, if you could possibly conjecture that the Earth is flat, there's a dome around on top of it that turns golden when the sun rays hit it, and above the dome is the waters of the
You're just making stuff up.
Well, of course.
Can you stop interrupting with "you just make stuff up," Rumpus, Mister? I've been to space.
Actually, Nathan, you're right. You're right.
Yes, I know. You've lied about being to space, so don't criticise people for making stuff up, Rumpus. You are a liar. Yeah, you can laugh it up, mate. You are a liar and you make stuff up. So please don't interrupt somebody to say you are making stuff up, because that's what you do. No, you are a liar who makes stuff up, Rumpus.
You're social.
Think about it. The Beatles sold their soul for this album.
Rumpus.
And
hey, whilst they do, good to have you.
Socially dysfunctional. Have you ever been out?
Behaviour. Well, his behaviour on these hangouts is socially dysfunctional.
That's not social.
Rumpus. Here's the thing.
He's
Why not
unaware of how to
donate
behave.
some
It's not social, Rumpus. If anything, it would be professional.
He's
this is a job kind of thing. It's not social because you've never had any social interaction with Nathan, have you?
Oh, you don't think this is a social interaction? You don't
have you had any? No, I don't think this is a social interaction.
In which case, you don't understand what social interaction is then.
No, I understand.
It's definitely not healthy.
You've never had any social interaction.
It's why it's called social media, Anthony. Social media.
Yeah, but this isn't social, is it?
That's why it's called social media, for God's sake.
That's that's a general.
You're being an idiot, Anthony. You're being an idiot here.
Let's define social.
Social interaction with Nathan.
Why do we have to stick?
This is called social media.
Who cares?
And it's called social media.
Hold on, we're all obfuscating Marcus now. Hold on, guys. Come on. Marcus is trying to make a point. Marcus was talking about the firmament and the dome of the heavens and the waters above. Do you want to carry on, Marcus?
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say that since as far as we all live in a yellow submarine, as far as, like I said, if there's a dome that gets hit by the golden rays, and outside the dome is the waters that apparently the universe is made out of, and inside is air.
Marcus?
What's that?
Are you a biblical young Earth creationist by any chance?
Well, I don't agree with the Bible because they're infiltrated with satanic lure, but so is the Quran. And so, no,
where does Satan come from?
Well, no. See, this is the thing. According to if you really dig deep, in the beginning there was the creators, and then eventually the Satanists got to sprinkle in the fact that your creators are now your Lord. They're also kings, your saviors, yada yada yada. But
does Satan exist outside of the Abrahamic religions?
Absolutely.
Does that blow anyone else's mind?
Do you agree that? Okay. Anybody else want to say there's no heaven and earth, or sorry, heaven and hell? Heaven and hell. Sorry. Good.
There's no scientific proof of it.
I agree.
Actually, there is
heaven or hell.
Actually, I can give you a creator. I cannot give you a heaven and a hell, but I can definitely give you a creator.
Yeah.
Can I have?
I've just put in side chat that I've got to admit that my only position can be that we were a result of creation, not religious creation, but creation of some kind. Because
creation
there's no way
that purpose. There has to be a purpose, right?
There's no way that we arrived on this planet as the result.
Okay, fine. We were created for a purpose, right?
No, we weren't.
No purpose at all.
No.
Do as thou wilt. Oh well, do as thou wilt, and then zippity doodah, you're harping on the door of the Luciferian Bible, you know. So do as thou wilt can't basically be peachy, because you know the two things that I tell Luciferians is.
Can we get back onto Ruhif's picture? This is just gibberish.
Can we just go on my ship picture and then I'll go.
Look, this picture says that
he's got to put this
it's no more.
I've got to be honest. Ruhif's been waiting in the wings with this picture up for a while. So, do you want to go ahead, Ruhif?
This to shit, because look at it this way: 25 miles away, the boat is supposed to be buried. Now you found a way to bring it up in the water because it's a mirage.
It's not a mirage.
That's what I thought.
Let's go back to
if it's not a mirage, then 25 miles away.
It's not 25 miles away. It's 25 kilometers away. Ranty got that completely wrong, as usual. Ranty was completely and utterly wrong.
But he's also got boats at this distance that are unobscured, though, right?
Kilometers away.
Yes.
Okay, so now it's 12 miles away, right?
No, it was always 25 kilometers away, just because Ranty made up 25 miles.
No, that's fine. Is it 12 miles away now?
25 kilometers away.
About 16 to 17 miles.
Sorry, that's 12.
Rue, what was the distance to the first boat in kilometers?
7.9.
12 is
7.9 kilometers.
7.9 kilometers.
And what was the guy's observer height? Do you know?
10 meters.
10 meters.
10 meters. And has this been proven? Like, is this contentious or is this not contentious?
I've got the topographical maps. Yeah.
Okay. So, with regards to the first boat, would the argument is that this supports the sphericity of the Earth, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So, with regards to just the first boat, can you get the screen, get it on so that we're just looking at the first boat, so it's not blinking between the two?
Hang on, I'll just put the video on. One sec.
It's a gift.
I've just done the metabunk calculator thing to see what your guys' position would be, including the effects of standard refraction, which generally is nonsense. But we'll give it to you for the sake of this discussion. It's based on the presupposition of a radius that you guys cannot prove.
We can prove it. You can go out and get a floodlight.
Hold on. We can prove it. You can go out and get.
I've got a bet.
That's what you just said.
Because he won't accept body of SAR.
You can prove it. You can go out and get. Right? No. We've asked for proof, and there isn't any.
You don't understand proof.
According to you, you can't prove it with science, even though science is a study of the natural world.
We explained to you that proof is a deductive argument.
I don't care what you've explained to me. Your claim is that science proves nothing and that you cannot prove it with science. Therefore, you cannot prove it with science. It is not proven. What I can go out and do is irrelevant.
Philosophical proof, it requires...
I don't care about philosophical proof. I couldn't care less about presuppositional maths, and I'm not interested in anything I can go out going forward to prove it to myself. You have no proof of this assertion, Rumpus. So when you use presuppositional maths and insert that you have a curve, you don't have proof of it.
Correct. He's right. He's not denying science.
You're a
Can someone else
science
share the video, please?
Because you're a science denier, we can't prove anything to you.
Yeah, because you're a real world denier and you want to live in a fantasy world, you can't believe anything other than curve. Doesn't matter how much information you've got, you will assert that it's curve because you're a zealot.
There's no contrary evidence. All the evidence supports us.
Yes, there's plenty of contrary evidence. That's the point. So when you assert that the Earth is blocking a boat, and then Anthony goes to a picture that shows that very specifically the boat is blocked by a refractive band, there is absolutely alternative explanations, Rumpus.
No, because this only accounts for the inversion layer above the horizon. That does not account for where the hull of the boat is.
Right, I've got the picture, the video of Rue's video on screen. Can we share it, Nick?
I can't see it yet.
Yeah, you're not sharing at the moment, Anthony.
Oh, sorry. Let me get back onto it. Hang on.
And then I better put some children to bed.
That one.
Have you got a nip off, Ruhiv?
The kids have been running amok for 45 minutes upstairs, so who knows what I'm going to come back to.
Okay, hopefully we'll see you shortly.
This crescendo the point.
Yeah.
So, just let me know when it's on, Nath.
I can see it.
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, so...
Do you want a full screen, Anthony?
Is that better?
That's much better.
Yeah, yep.
Oh. Maybe... You see the boat that's here? The one in the background?
Yep.
The assertion is that it's behind the curve of the water.
Correct.
Yes.
We accept that there is an inferior mirage thing. It is a known...
Actually, Anthony,
wait. Let me finish. We can observe the phenomena known as an inferior mirage. Correct.
Not here.
Correct. I agree. It's not here. But we also can see that there is evidence that goes with the superior mirage, which in this case would be the water reflecting back on itself, and we wouldn't be able to tell.
There's no evidence of that.
Well, we do. Right? Do you want to see evidence of
Bring the foreground boat back in the picture?
Yeah, you don't have superior mirages appearing below the water. That doesn't happen.
He's saying the water reflects itself above. That's what he's saying.
There's no evidence for that.
Go back to the video and show the foreground boat.
Are we saying the water's reflecting up?
I'm saying it would be explained by.
Exactly.
Because we see that there's a superior mirage of this boat, for example, and the boat is being reflected above the boat.
Yeah, above the horizon, Anthony. They don't appear below.
Well, what happens if the horizon itself is...
We can solve this quite quickly, and then I can go. Go back to the video and show the boat in the foreground.
Show the boat in the foreground?
Yes.
That should be reflecting up.
Well, it wouldn't be, would it? Because it would be before the horizon.
But your refractive layer must be between that waterline of the foreground boat and the apparent horizon, right?
Well, we do see a change in waterline there. But we're exactly where that boat was.
That's perspective, Anthony.
No, let's just accept it for argument.
Yeah, so this invalidates, this invalidates your superior Mach theory because everything's consistent. It's not as though there's a break in the water or in the shape of that ship. It's entirely consistent from the observer all the way to the distant ship. There's no miraging between those 2 points. Therefore, your point is completely and utterly refuted.
But there is a line between the two.
Even if there is, Anthony, the
a
hull of the boat in the background is far below.
No, you can see that wave breaking there behind the boat, and it didn't reflect.
Exactly. So there's almost if there's nothing at all, I suspect. And there's certainly
You go back
because
a
it's
few seconds.
when you get windy conditions.
Okay, then all right. Let's go.
I just want to make a point, Anthony. When you have windy conditions like this, that mixes up the air, and therefore you don't tend to get any inversion layers at all.
There's another one.
Let's say for the purposes of this video that this is reflecting the curvature of the Earth. If we went back and got somebody else to do the same observation of a boat at that distance, and it is on a passenger route, it is on a route cargo route, isn't it? The boats will pass that journey again. We should be able to get the same results, right?
We should, yeah.
Right. But when we go and do the similar kind of observations at similar distances, we're not seeing this.
Well, you're just manufacturing something you just made up there.
No.
You're speculating as to what you would like to happen.
It needs to be verified so that this is what we're seeing. Because if we went back on a similar day and didn't get the same results, then guess what? That would mean this is a refractive effect and we're not seeing curve.
If that should happen, I mean, it does.
There's waves breaking behind it, Anthony.
The looming would change.
And there is one other consideration to make. There is one other consideration to make. Do you see this red line and the black line on the boat?
Yeah, it's a water line, yeah.
Do you know what it's actually called?
Is it plimsoll line?
Correct. Do you know what the plimsoll line does?
Yes.
Go on.
The average draft or the maximum draft?
You don't want to load up above that, otherwise the boat will become unstable.
Correct. And we can see that the boat in the background is loaded, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That's going to have the effect of dropping it down towards the plimsoll line, correct?
Correct.
So that's going to make it smaller on the horizon than what this boat that's not loaded is, correct?
Correct. But it's much more than just the plimsoll line, Anthony.
Right.
I've worked out. You tell me where you think the hull of that boat is, and you'll see it's well below the plimsoll line.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it drops it by some degrees. We'll call it pixels. Well, it drops the boat in the water by some degrees.
It does, if I feel, yes.
Right.
But
So we agree on that. A loaded boat will sit lower in the water than what.
But where do you think the hull of that boat is, Anthony? And in fact, I can show you now because I know what the boat design. I've actually worked out exactly where the hull of the boat is.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's going to be down here somewhere, isn't it?
Exactly. Correct.
Right.
Yes.
But if we
Can
went
I
back
make my very quick point and then go?
If we went back and did the same experiment, we should see the same thing.
My point is that even if we accept that refraction zone, even if we accept Anthony's refraction zone between the waterline of the front ship and the apparent horizon, if we accept that that's a superior Mirage or whatever, the hull of that boat in the background is still far below that.
Correct.
Right. Do you remember when Rob Skiba did his Lake Michigan observation where he showed that the buildings in the background were magnified disproportionately big to what they should be?
No, it was wrong.
What do you mean it was wrong?
He was talking gibberish.
Oh, if you go to the Ballers, on the Ballers website, that's a completely doctored video.
Rob Skiba's doctored a video? I don't think so.
I'm glad you've accepted that the superior Mirage theory doesn't work, Anthony.
If you go on the Ballers web,
I haven't accepted
the
it.
Well, you can see from the picture. You can't have a superior Mirage because this boat, which is much closer to you, there's a continuum from the observer to the ship in the distance, and there's no any evidence there of any sort of strange miraging, splitting, or anything. So your superior Mirage theory is completely invalidated.
Right,
this
but
picture's fantastic.
Let's just say, for the sake of discussion, that this is the curvature of the Earth, okay?
Okay.
If we went back and did a similar observation from a similar vantage point, or we recreated this in a different part of the world with the similar distances involved, we should get similar results.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, it might vary. There might be a little bit less or more refraction. There might be a little bit more looming of the boat, a little bit less, but fundamentally, it'd be very close to that. You'd be very close to it. Yes, very close.
So what was the distance on the furthest boat, Ruhif?
25.8 kilometers.
Gone.
25 meters, 25 kilometers. Right, we can reproduce that. We live right next to a major shipping lane. And I can tell you what's going to happen. We're not going to get this droppiness. This is a refractive effect that we will be able to disprove.
It exactly agrees with the sphere. I've done the calculations.
It might do on this occasion. It might do on this occasion, but does that prove that it's the cause?
Well, it's what comes down to proof. I mean, if you have something that does something, every single time you do it, you're going to claim that if you do it for the 1,000th time. Let me finish, actually. Let me finish my sentence. But you could argue, what happens if I do it the 1,000th time or the 10 millionth time? You can't guarantee what's going to happen that 10 millionth time. But if it does it for 999,000 times.
P. Miles made that point the other day, and I was going to call him on it, but I didn't get my words in. But the point is, if we do this repeat an observation and we don't get the same results, we get different results. How can you argue that this is the proof of the?
Yes, if you've got different results, if they were majorly different, in other words, if they were compatible with the flat Earth, in other words, there was no horizon, indeed, that would be very, very troublesome. If you could have no horizon, you went up there and saw something 25 kilometers away, and there was no horizon like we've got here, indeed, that would be dramatically problematic to us.
Right. So
Wait
with
a minute.
regards
The Isle of Man is way more than 25 kilometers, and you guys butchered that for 3 months.
Yeah, we proved it was compatible
and
with
with the
spherical.
Isle of Man, we can show that that's 30 miles away. So that's 50 kilometers. We can pick a boat that runs between the two islands because shipping route.
No, what I'm saying is,
And it don't look like
It proves the
this.
spherical Earth, Anthony. Surely you
Now
accept
that
that now.
Yeah, but that's the point, Rumpus. They don't look like this. Do you want me to do it? I can do it, and I can show you what boats look like from sea level, passing between the two islands, which is about the same distance. It's 30 miles, 50 kilometers, halfway, 15 miles. That's getting towards 25.
If this proves the spherical Earth, your basic argument now is that this proves the spherical Earth, or at least shows evidence of the spherical Earth.
I just want to ask a quick question, Rumpus. Do we now have the...
Let's accept this evidence.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you, Rumpus. Do we now have the observer? Sorry, guys. I just need to ask a quick question. Hold on, Mark. I just need to ask a quick question. Have we now tied down how high the observer height is?
For this observation here?
No, as far as I know, it's 10, but I don't know.
It's 10 meters, and I've looked at it on I've looked at it on Google Earth, and Ruhif looked at it on an Ordnance Survey map, and it's certainly it's 10 meters is very close from the coordinates that he gives. Obviously, we're relying on him giving the correct coordinates, but he gave very specific latitude and longitude. I presume he got off his GPS or something.
Okay.
And if you go to that position, indeed, it is about 10 meters. If you add in his observer height, it
10
puts
meters.
him at
10 meters what?
Exactly 10
Sorry,
meters.
just to be a bit more specific. 10 meters what?
Above mean sea level.
Oh, right. And what was the sea level at the time of the observation?
I don't know that.
Excuse me? Sorry, you don't know where the tide was?
Actually, no, that would be irrelevant. Actually,
it would make a small difference. It would make a difference. Nathan's right. It would make a small difference, but it wouldn't change it dramatically.
How? Because you're on a boat. This is taken off a boat, right?
No, it's taken on land. You don't know anything about this. You're not helping this debate at all, whoever you are. You're just spouting gibberish.
I thought it was taken off a boat. Okay.
No, it's not. It's taken off a piece of land outside Woonanga.
Said Rumpus, right? He came on with this observation last time and knew absolutely nothing about it and just dogmatically asserted that curve was the thing blocking the vote. He's subsequently gone back and found out a few bits of information.
No,
and he's now criticising another guest for asking a few questions about it.
And it proves I was justified.
Yeah, no, it doesn't prove anything.
It justifies me completely.
Doesn't prove anything. It's not proof, Rumpus.
It justifies my position.
Sorry,
completely.
it doesn't prove anything.
Well, in scientific proof, as I say, is difficult because, for instance, as
scientific proof of Earth curve doesn't exist, Rumpus. You can't prove it. Even though science studies the natural world, you have no proof of Earth curvature using science.
I was in mid-sentence there. Well, it's because we decide what proof is. Philosophers only regard proof as something like...
I couldn't care less about philosophy when we're talking about the natural world. That's science. Not philosophy, science. A study of the natural world. So my expectation, Rumpus, is that you have a scientific proof of Earth curvature. You say you don't, and science can't prove it.
Da-di-da-di-da.
Not di-da-di-da-di-da. Science can't prove this.
Do you know what induction is, Nathan? That's basically the point that Antti was making about and I was making earlier about if you made 999 observations of this working, you can't prove that the 1000th will be the same.
Yeah, and that's the thing that debunks it. Systematic experimentation. So yeah, Rumpus, that's right. You might find you get a different result on the 99th attempt. That's why you have to systematically test it. So this single observation, is garbage.
It's absolutely fantastic.
No, it's a single observation that has not been systematically tested. There is no experiment attached to it. There is no hypothesis attached to it. There is nothing in the scientific method that conforms. Nothing.
But you don't understand the scientific method.
Sorry, you have claimed that science cannot prove anything. That's pathetic, but that's your claim. Simply because you can't prove Earth curvature using, quote, the study of the natural world.
You could be a brain of that, Nathan. I could be a brain of that.
No.
Yeah, we could all be in the Matrix. You can keep making this pathetic argument all you like, Rumpus. It's pathetic. You're saying trying to prove the Earth is a sphere is the same as trying to prove you're in the Matrix. Yeah, well, that's sad. That's sad. You've had the entire body of science backing this for 2,000 years, and the best you can say is, well, it's as difficult as proving you're not a brain in a jar.
You don't understand philosophy, I'm afraid. Is what
sorry, we're not talking about philosophy. You're a retard.
You don't understand the concepts of truth and proof, I'm afraid. And this is
I understand what truth is. I understand what proof is. And we are not talking about philosophical proof. We are talking about the scientific method being adhered to. Because science is a study of the natural world. And that is quite literally what we are talking about here, Rumpus. The world.
But you don't know what the scientific method is.
Right, Rumpus, listen. If you drop a golf ball 99 times and it hits the floor below you, like where your feet are, 99 times, is your position that 100th time may not drop in it where your feet is?
That is science's position, in fact, yes.
So if I then drop the ball for that 100th time and it dropped in at the floor, then I would say, well, it was kind of predictable. We kind of knew it was going to do that. It would be scientifically obvious that it would be doing
Correct.
that. It's done it 199 times before. So where do you draw the line between being an idiot and accepting that something that's happened many times before is bound to happen again? Where do you draw that line?
That's a very good question. That's the problem that philosophers apply to science and use the process of induction. If we did it 9 million times, we still couldn't prove philosophically that 9 millionth and first time would do the same thing. That is the problem with science.
So, Nath, I've got my screen on screen. Could you present?
Yeah, you are.
I'm quite happy to go back up to the St. Bees, right? I'm quite happy to do an observation because it is a major shipping route. There's lots of boats in the area. And I've got on screen now, there are probably 12 boats that are in the area.
All right.
But I mean, I could pick any of these boats and I could pick them out and I could zoom in on them. And if I got results that were different to what Ruhif was showing with the 2 cargo ships that didn't support the perception that they were curvature of the Earth, given that Ruhif's done it once and then I do it a second time but get different results, is it not logical that that's not predictable in terms of the weather, the atmosphere, the conditions, and therefore couldn't prove the shape of the Earth because I should get similar results?
Yes, obviously.
Well, you have to do it 98 more times.
Can I interrupt you really quick?
No, hold on. I'd like to answer Anthony's point, please. You keep on interrupting. Hold on. I would like to answer Anthony's point, his question.
Oh, okay. I was going to speed it up and tell your point of view.
Yeah, can you stop so I can answer Anthony? Right, Anthony, yes. It would be problematic if you made an observation in similar conditions. So, for instance, it'd be best for you to do it in windy conditions, which would reduce the effects of inversion layers and refraction because it mixes up the air a lot more.
It's generally quite windy on the coast, though, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed, most of the time. So, yes, but it was quite windy. But but that one condition, in fact, the condition we're about to have a hangout about, where you have those strange low pressure conditions, which have quite an interesting effect actually on the refraction levels. But if you went on a normal
conditions that you have no evidence to prove that exist.
I was just about to say, Rumpus, please can you provide us the exact conditions that have been measured by the observer for that observation that we are trying to replicate?
I can't do that. I did actually look it up, but I can't do it. I don't have it.
Sorry, you looked it up. Let's just get a bit of clarity. Hold on, Anthony. So, looked it up. Did he not take the measurements when he did it?
Point?
I want to ask a question, Rumpus, so I'm going to ask it whether you like it or not. So, do you have the actual measured values taken at the observation point?
No, is the answer. He's already given it.
Yes, Anthony. It would be hugely problematic if it was very, very different. Yes, indeed.
No.
So we don't have this information, so we can ignore it because we don't have it. So it's not relevant.
Can I just say, in order to make them happy, why not just say that you'll be happy if the boat is within a certain distance? You guys can agree on that. However amount of freaking wind, you guys can agree plus or minus. It doesn't have to be like bang
that's
on.
What I said. Yeah, you're just repeating what I said. If it's very different, indeed, it'd be problematic, even if the conditions were very different. But if you didn't have a horizon, for instance, then it would be problematic. But I'm just saying, you could emulate the conditions. It'd just be a little bit better if you could go on a slightly windy day. That would reduce the levels of things like inversion layers.
Why? Was this guy taking this picture on a windy day, Rumpus?
Yes, he was.
How do you know?
I didn't.
Because you can see by the waves.
Didn't look that windy.
Didn't look windy to me at all.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be very windy.
Actually,
it could just
guys,
be
if you watch
a little windy.
Guys, if you watch the video, you can hear the sound and you can hear it's quite windy as well.
Sorry, is
You
that
can
a
see the
measured
waves on the
value?
coast.
Hearing the sound on a YouTube video, does that tell me how fast the wind was going was?
You can see from the
No, it
waves
doesn't.
there is a breeze.
No, I'm just saying you can
Okay,
get an
does
idea.
it tell you? Does it tell you
It's
how
not proof.
consistent the
Why don't
wind
you guys
was?
sit down and
Was
agree
does
upon
the
something?
sound on the
But it gives
video
you an
tell me
idea.
how
You guys-
consistent the wind
Can I
was?
just say, you guys are going to be hammering
hear you.
this for the next 3 months. So why not go figure out what specs you want?
Well, this
and
is what
then-
I'm trying to get with Rumpus.
Yes, exactly what he's
And the-
asking. Yes, he's asking this question. I think you're just repeating everything other people are saying. Yes,
Rumpus.
Anthony, but even if the conditions were very different, it still would not. If you found a dramatic difference between what
Rumpus,
should be on a spherical Earth, then
I'm gonna
indeed
make
it would be problematic.
I'm going to make a scientific experiment, and I'm going to ask you: would you agree with it? If we used a reputable sat tracking website to tell us the location of some boats, if we use this and tell us that there was a particular boat in this, let's go with this one for example. It's a little bit closer. It's about the distance that I mean. Basically, what I'm saying is we can get the distances around about the 15-mile mark to represent the cargo ship that Ruhif was showing in his picture. If we then got, like, say, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats at around the 15-mile mark, and we showed the results of 5, 6 boats over, say, a 2 or 3 and we'll do it with we'll start with this, and we'll say, right, this is where it is. From here, we can look down. Its distance is roughly whatever it is, and then we'll show what we can see of it. Then you get 5 or 6 different boats in roughly the same kind of distances. They should all support Ruhif's video if the Earth is curved.
Correct.
However,
that's a good test. Yes, it's a good test, Anthony.
And it didn't support them, then would you dismiss it?
I wouldn't.
Could we get a clear I wouldn't on that?
No, photographic I think you're looking at, then indeed, if you could, for instance, you could see what the name of the boat was, and you could say that this was taken this time of day, and then you sort of panned round.
For
and you...
fuck's sakes, you can't get a name of the boat off of your picture. Now you want this guy to get you a name of the boat.
Yeah, but if Anthony tells me that this boat's called this...
Could I present, Nathan?
You think a typical zoom
just give us a second.
on a camera is good enough to magnify a flipping boat? Hollywood invented these miraculous.
What we'll do, Rumpus, is we'll find boats that are around about 15 miles away, which is the 25 kilometers that
Europe ran to.
It's roughly 25 kilometers. Okay. And we'll compare and contrast the results, because if the Earth's spherical, we should get the same amount, because the amount that it's oblate is negligible, apparently.
Okay, Rumpus, I've already presented this before, so you must have had time to look at this this video. I've not heard back your conclusions on this. Essentially, this boat should be beyond the curve. If we live on a curve, it's 9.5 miles away, and you saw where I had my tripod in the water here. Now, at this distance, 9.5 miles away, this is the Ben Mai Cherie. It's passing through the wind farms on its way to Haitian. And this entire boat should be missing. You shouldn't see a single thing on this. I did the GPS tracking on it. I worked out the wind farms it was passing. And at 9.5 miles, you shouldn't see any of this. So what do you think of that? Hello?
You're here.
Are you talking about the ferry or some other boat?
The ferry. Yeah, this is the Ben Mai Cherie ferry. It's heading to Haitian from the Isle of Man. And at this particular time, when I took
9 miles isn't that far.
9.5 miles. 9.5.
It's not enough to carry a boat, according to their curve.
Yes, it is. Observation height 3 feet, 9.5 miles. Would you like me to do the curvature calcs on it for you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
9. I'm trying to do that in my head, but it's like
Has the Rumpus been kicked, by the way, or is he still
40,
here?
50 feet, right?
Distance in miles.
I don't know.
9.5.
Still here, by looks.
Viewer height 3.
What's the number there? Oh, shit, sorry.
The drop is 60 feet.
Yeah, that's what I said, 50 feet.
You realise the height of the boat itself is only 80 feet in total.
Well,
but you're seeing it down to its hull.
Either way, you see a lot of the boat. I'm not arguing this. I'm just saying what the Globe boys are going to say.
No, you'd only see like the top third of the boat.
Yeah, look at that. You see way too much of the boat. But you know what? You know what they're going to say? They're going to say the guy's on a balloon looking down. We don't know where the observer was.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Go to the beginning of the video, Ranty, and just show him where the observer is.
Completely okay. I got news for you. The moment it doesn't conform to a globetard, it's doctored.
Yeah, or a little bit of refraction, or
right.
Little
So
not
Rumpus, he is still here.
Or a Mirage. Don't forget Mirage.
So basically, what we can do then is the boat that's at 25
first
kilometers.
100 miles don't count. That's a good one too. That's my favorite one out of all of them that I've heard. That's my favorite one.
So
also, I wanted to present this as well. It was basically somewhat of a comparison with the horizon. If you imagine that this rock here is that boat in the foreground, yeah, and obviously that's the sky, and this is the water. There's the horizon. There's the waves cresting. You have the boat that's passing past this boat here. So if we assume that what we see is the horizon, but watch what happens when the sun sets.
Compass has dropped, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed. Awkward times.
Now I would ask the question.
On the same show, sorry to interrupt you, Ranty. On the same show, Anthony, we're in a position where he said, yes, I would agree if you got the same sort of thing. He then tried to weasel around it with data that he didn't have about the original observation, i.e. the wind. But he said, yes, I would have to find that a problem, or however he phrased it. Immediately, Ranty's joined the call and shown just that. Then he's disappeared.
I wonder if Ranty would consider coming up to St. Bees in the next couple of days while the weather's on the turn for good. Ranty could be at the top of a cliff. I could be at the bottom of the cliff. We could take two simultaneous observations of boats at around about the 15-mile mark, and we can compare and contrast notes, and we can show what the effects of the observation at two different elevations is with regards to the claim that the cargo ship was basically pretty much gone behind the curve. I mean, there wasn't a lot left of it. There was maybe 4 or 5 containers worth. We could show that at 15 miles does not happen. So therefore, we could show as well that there is evidence contrary to that video that does not happen. So this must be an effect of refraction of some way. It's cut the bottom of the boat off.
They're gonna say you doctored the bejesus out of it.
Yeah, who cares?
The moment it doesn't conform, none of us are gonna say go do it 1,000 times.
No,
well,
no.
What's interesting? I'm sorry, I was just make this point before I have to go actually, but. This sun never actually touches the water. It never, ever goes and touches this water layer, ever.
Ranty.
Everything that you see is refracted up on this.
Talking? Just really quick, is you know something about that freaking sun that you guys don't want to mention? Is that streak that it creates as you watch on the water? Have you ever seen that streak that it makes when the sun is above the water? However far, and it makes a streak in the water. You know what I'm talking about, Nathan?
Do you see how that's not actually? It's never touched the water. The reflection of everything, and you can see the sky behind it. It has never once dropped beyond the horizon.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if you saw steam coming off it to say, "Look, it goes in the water"?
Ranty, Paper Explanator is asking you a question. He says,
I'm sorry.
Ask Ranty why he's lying. 3 feet observer from 9.5 miles is 36 feet hidden, not 80. Can you respond to Paper? Because it's two chickens come on the panel.
I said the boat itself is 80 foot high, and I said that the drop is 60.1 feet. The refracted hidden is 30 feet. The boat is only 80 feet in height, so you shouldn't even see beyond the hull.
So in response, can you answer this question? Why is he lying 3 feet observer from 9.5 miles is 36 feet hidden, not 80 feet?
Yeah.
What's the response?
Hang on, wait a minute. I just did it on Metaphone.
I can help you. This is what they're going to say.
Your name's not Ranty. Wait.
Can I help Ranty? I can give
No.
you
Sure,
all
yeah.
the answers that I've heard. I swear to God, I will bang it on exactly what he's going to tell you in a second.
The question's to Ranty. Let him respond. 3 feet observer, 9.5 miles.
Yeah, that's what I put in. 3 feet in observer height, 9.5 miles. Is this just obfuscation again?
Yeah, I think so. So
I think
he's
it
saying
is,
that
yeah.
36 feet hidden.
Yeah, hidden is
Temperature
36 feet.
variations,
The
and
drop
it's a
is
mirage.
60.1.
So the issue's with the word 80 feet. So
Yeah, you
80
said
feet
80.
isn't reference to the
Maybe
amount.
Yeah,
she
the boat
misspoke
is
and
80
meant
feet in height.
Oh, right.
80 feet is a reference to the boat.
Either it's a mirage, or the observer is standing way further up than he claims.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I mean, this is what I tried to do with all my videos. I tried to show where I am, my location. All we have with this video, I mean, I've got that video up, actually, the Nikon P900. Essentially, from the start of the video to the end of the video, we're already zoomed in. We haven't got any idea where he is, how high his observation was. We don't even know where he is. We're told where he is. We're told the time. We've got no GPS. We've got no data that can corroborate this observation. For all we know, he could be down at the water edge, looking at this, and simply making up a value that conforms to the curvature of the Earth by saying 30 feet or 40 feet. We don't know this because we can't validate this.
I just want to clarify that point, though. Sorry, Ranty. Can you go back to
the? And waste your time to sit on the beach looking at boats. To make
all it would have taken was him to bring back the camera, do a 360 panoramic, and say, "This is where I am." That's all it would have needed.
I just want to get that point tied down, Ranty. Can you go back to the Ben Maishari video?
Yeah.
What you're essentially saying is you should only see 20 feet of it, correct?
Yes.
Well,
if we presuppose we're on a sphere and apply the spherical maths, that begs the question, just to get those disclaimers in.
Yeah.
What's that thing in the water, bottom left-hand corner?
That's a buoy. I think it's a navigational buoy.
Oh, that's rumpus wrecked.
No, it's just interesting. You know, I mean, we see this all the time. I mean, I've got.
But that's beyond the point, right? Why is it there? I don't get it. If it's dropping,
probably
if the curve is there,
or shallow waters.
Where's
telling
that in
you,
relation to
the
the
temperature. The temperature is cooling and heating and refracting, and you're seeing a mirage.
You see that round circle on the boat? On the side of the boat?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the NASA logo. You've all been taken in.
Circle on the boat.
Are you serious?
It's submerged by the curve of the Earth.
You've all been sucked in.
Sucked in by NASA.
That would be so ironic. That would be
NASA's
so
making it look
ironic
flat.
if that was true.
It's NASA making it look flat.
But just so we've got this concise. So, Ranty, can you just round out your point? I was just about to ask you to do what you're doing. You're way ahead.
Yeah,
of me.
my simple point is that firstly, we can't corroborate his evidence. Essentially, we don't know where he was, what his height was. We're taking it on face value that this guy is telling us the truth, as we know from our own experience working with the ballers. If we don't show our location, we don't give the GPS, we aren't tying it down to within a foot or two of where we are. It is dismissed without question. Now, all we're seeing here is an observation of a boat already fully zoomed in, without any panoramic, no GPS coordinates, nothing. I am going to apply the same logic that the ballers have always done to us with our observations and dismiss this out of hand simply because we cannot corroborate anything about this observation.
Can I just say, make a baller go with a phone in hand, GPS the bejesus out of it, as the guy in the movie says, science the shit out of it, and basically make it, and then show us going, you want proof of the curve? This is how high I was standing. There's the boat. Watch them having to start doctoring their own crap just to make it a freaking curve, because there's no way they can present a curve other than doctoring the crap out of their own videos.
No, we have
We're-
our toes held to the fire when we don't present evidence which is corroborated, GPS location, observation height, everything needed into it, right? But yet,
make
just look
a
at this
legit
for
shot.
likes and dislikes. We have 3 times as many likes as dislikes, but there is no way to corroborate this video, right?
How
If you look
about
at my
this?
video, if you look
the
at my
boat
video,
is-
just
you
bear
know
with
the
me. If
boat
you
is
look at my
roughly
video,
25 clicks away. Go
We
say,
have-
you know what? Forget this crappy video on YouTube. We went, and here's what we got 25 clicks away. Show us a legit picture that you have all the details on before you get some poor flathead to go out and recreate the Isle of Man experiment. You know, guys, until I wasn't able to get on like time wise, but every single time I get on, all I hear is Isle of Man. I'm like, oh my god, not again. And this
Right,
is
well,
gonna
I'll finish my
this is
point.
gonna turn into another Isle of Man thing. So why don't you guys go take a snapshot, a legit
Well,
one
can
that
I
you
finish
can
my
tell
point?
us how windy it was, how far away the boat was, and
Yeah, go ahead, Ranty.
Yeah, I'll just finish my point. Yeah, my point was that when you have brilliant evidence like this, which proves that you shouldn't see almost all of the boat, we get all the trolls coming in, and I get 17 dislikes, more dislikes than likes. Not that I'm complaining about that. I'm not bothered about that. I'm just saying this is the dogmatic things that they do. And then you look at this without any evidence of location, viewer height, nothing, and it gets 3 times as many likes as dislikes. Now, this is the mentality of the ballers. They cannot critically analyze anything. They will accept anything that comes their way as proof of a ball, and they don't care. They don't care that it's not validated. They don't care that there's no evidence to go with it to prove where this guy took this video or anything to do with it, right? And this is when we are held accountable for our presentations, and that same logic should be applied to them. So when they bring this to the table and they present this as a ball earth proof, we need to be going back to them and saying to them, okay, where's the standards that we now are going to apply the standards that you give to us for our presentations? We're going to apply it to yours. So firstly, viewer height, can you prove that? No. Right. Weather conditions, can you prove that? No. Right. Dismissed.
Yeah, I think I've got to completely agree with you, Ranty. And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for joining and making this debate possible. And also a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!